Good morning. Our Universalist heritage proposes that each person is made of divine goodness, and science offers that we are stardust. Whatever your beliefs, know that you are a gift inherently worthy of love, and we're glad that you're here. In this moment of our shared journey together, may you feel witnessed and honored, because love is the spirit of all souls. Let us now greet our neighbors, especially new and returning folks, with our names and pronouns.
This is around, so this side is with me to start off. This side is with Allison.
I'm going to do it all together once through, and then we'll start the round.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of this hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near.
Spirit draw near.
Good morning and welcome to all who are with us in the moment and to those catching us later on. I'm Austin Mitchell. My pronouns are he, him, and I'll be serving as the worship associate for today's service. Together with Reverend Christina Rivera, pronoun she, ea, who is joining us virtually, as well as Liz Elsmore, our collaborative pianist, pronoun she, her. We are your worship team on the chancel today. We extend a warm and joyful welcome to people of all ages. If you have little ones with you, nursery care is available for your convenience. We invite everyone to complete a connection card, which you can find in the pews, or you can complete it by scanning the QR code outside of the sanctuary. And this is a fantastic way to let us know if you need any support, if you have any interests or comments that you want to share. So please fill those out. We have found ourselves on another very hot Sunday in the sanctuary. We, of course, have portable AC units placed around the room, but if you find yourself in need of relief in an air-conditioned room, you can go to the atrium over here or the library over there and spend some time there to cool down. Additionally, due to the heat, we'll also be taking steps to protect our coffee hour volunteers from heat exhaustion in the kitchen. So to reduce their heat exposure, we'll be offering less food today, having a shorter serving time for food and coffee, and we'll also be using paper plates so there's no dishes for them to do. Also, we're very glad that Bolash Kovacs is visiting the Rahill family from our sister church in Romania. We're very glad to have him with us today. And now, as we begin our time together, we acknowledge the land itself and those who have sustained it through the generations. We are upon the unceded land of the Lenape, Miamia, Kaskaskia, Shawnee, and Kickapoo people, who were pushed from their land and whose children have been stolen for generations. As we strive to be a community of justice, may we continue to find ways to make reparations. I now share with you the words of Emily M. Towns. Liberation and freedom are not the same. Liberation is a process. Freedom is a temporary state of being. It is more of an event we point toward, work for, and hope for. It is the hope of freedom that drives liberation. Liberation is the product of freedom. Liberation is the process of struggle with ourselves and with each other that begets the transformation of all of us to our full humanity. Through liberation, freedom may be made manifest, but that freedom is not a permanent state of being. When we are made whole, we are asked to give of that wholeness. Liberation is dynamic, and it never ends. And now, we would like to have the Rahill family come and light our chalice.
Good morning. The ritual of lighting our chalice reminds us to continually renew our promise to live into our covenant, to put love into action, and to live out the community and love and justice we aim to be. Please rise in body or spirit as we share the words printed in our order of service in Spanish first and then in English. If you are with us online, please let us know in the chat where you are lighting your chalice.
El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia y el servicio es su ley. Vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad en el amor y ayudarnos unos a otros. Esta es nuestro pacto.
This church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth of love, and to help one another. This is our covenant.
We got gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up. People all around the world sometimes feel so sad, but when others show they care, well, things don't seem so bad. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. We gotta hold everybody. We gotta hold everybody up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up, up, up. Hold everybody up.
Good morning. We've got a story time for you guys.
I know it's important to take care of me, to focus on my own breath, my own needs, and to be kind to my mind.
Sometimes I wonder, is that selfish? How does caring for myself help anybody else?
But then I realized that the better I feel inside, the more I can be there for others. My friends, my family, my community. Because I do not exist alone. I am part of something bigger than myself.
And when we each take the goodness and self-compassion inside and turn it outward, that is how we make progress and change. How we build, create, learn, and show love. How we care for each other affects the world. I am more than me.
I am we.
When there are challenges and struggles, I can check on you. You can check on me. We can create a safety net so no one falls.
When there is hurtfulness and inequality, we can stand up for each other. We can sit, gather, march, sing, vote in stronger numbers, louder in voices as we call for justice.
When there are differences in thoughts and opinions, we can have a conversation, listening, disagreeing, and agreeing with gentleness, finding the right solution for all of us.
When there is shyness and a feeling of not belonging, we can be the welcoming committee, interested and thoughtful, making sure there is a place for everyone.
When there are problems to be solved with creativity, I can share my talents and you can share yours. We can combine our skills and ideas to dream up something spectacular.
When there are good times, success, and joy, we can celebrate, show our excitement and pride, and encourage each other to keep on rising.
Connection is how I grow. Connection is how we grow. Connected is what we are, part of a worldwide community, diverse and magnificent, kind and accepting, supportive and present. All of us important, none of us alone.
I am not just me, I am we.
And if we put our heads and our hearts together, if we keep on caring for ourselves and each other, everything is possible. Thank you.
Please join me in taking a few moments to note that which is currently bringing joy or sorrow to our community. In joy, we welcome our newest member, August Alvin Surma Samuels, born July 9th at 5:10 a.m. to James Samuels and Jackie Surma. At 6 pounds and 14 ounces, a healthy, beautiful boy. And all are well and at home now. Also in joy, we celebrate that Oakland, the daughter of Tori Salvo and Zach Keeney, has been released from the NICU and is home now, and we send our love and best wishes to the family. In sorrow, we announce that a celebration of life for Carol Kirk will be held on Saturday, July 19th at 2 p.m. at UUI. It will also be streamed live on uui.org. And now, let us hold a moment of silence together for the joys and sorrows in our hearts that are yet unnamed. Thank you. And now, please rise in body or spirit as we sing There Is a Love by Elizabeth Norton.
Bienvenidos, welcome everyone. I am Cristina Rivera, she, her pronouns. I am your sabbatical minister, Pastor Chris, here at All Souls Indy. And as always, it is my honor and pleasure to be with you all this Sunday. This Sunday's sermon topic, with great freedom comes great accountability, came to me as the play on words from Spider-Man, Marvel Comics Spider-Man. If you don't know the Spider-Man backstory, his Uncle Ben says this to him, both in the comics and the movies, usually when his uncle is passing away. And the line is actually with great power comes great responsibility. And this idea that when we are given something or when something comes to us, there is another part of that. And when we understand that, that can be a very pivotal moment in our lives. And us here in the United States, often we hear this word, freedom. But it's also a word that can be multifaceted, and it can come with a lot of baggage, right? And as Unitarian Universalists, we have to struggle, we have to think about, we have to interrogate and investigate that tension, that sacred tension between those two words, freedom and accountability. They're not opposite, right? They're not opposite, but they're partners in what I would term a holy dance, sometimes misunderstood and often misused. As Unitarian Universalists, we are uniquely positioned to hold these tensions with depth and integrity because our faith demands nothing less than a lifelong journey towards liberation for all. So let us begin at the beginning. Freedom. It's a word that's been invoked by revolutionaries and oppressors alike. It's a word that is etched into constitutions and carved into the hearts of dreamers. Freedom. We sing about it, we march for it, we legislate for it, and sometimes we weaponize it. In the United States, freedom has been marketed as the ultimate good, the pinnacle of human achievement. But we know, oh friends, how do we know that freedom is not always liberating? Sometimes freedom is used to cage. So let's take a moment and think about that contradiction. The same word being used to liberate enslaved people is now being wielded to deny their descendants access to equitable education, healthcare, and even the right to live. Freedom of speech is too often a veil for hate speech. Freedom of religion can become a license for discrimination. So what does that mean for us as a people of faith who claim freedom as one of our core values, one of our core foundational, what used to be principles? So here is where Unitarian Universalism calls us deeper, not into a freedom of avoidance, but a freedom of engagement. Not freedom from escape, but freedom as covenant. When reflecting on the powerful hymn, "We are building a new way, we are working to be free," that's work. It's hard work, it's uncomfortable work that cannot be done in isolation, but must be done in community. Peace and freedom is our cry. Part of that song reminds us that this is not the kind of freedom that shirks from responsibility, but the kind of freedom that leans into it again and again. We live in a world where freedom is often framed as individualistic. Do what you want, when you want. No one has the right to tell you to do otherwise or to do or what not to do. But as bell hooks reminded us, the measure of a free society is not in the latitudes of its liberties, but in the quality of its compassion and accountability. And accountability, dear ones, is not a punishment. Accountability is an act of love, a radical act of love. So what does that mean for us as UUs? How do we live into a freedom that liberates rather than a freedom that isolates? It means that we recognize, as our elder Fannie Lou Hamer said, nobody is free until everybody is free. And I've shared this in past reflections because it's part of the basis of what I've framed as a saying, a mantra that I go by, and that is, as UUs, we have a theological mandate for liberation. A theological mandate for liberation. Our theology as Unitarian Universalists requires us to work for liberation. So we don't just get to say that we want liberation, we work for it. And that work becomes our prayer. So accountability then, therefore, is part of that prayer. And it is a sacred answer to freedom's call. Accountability is a sacred answer to the call of freedom. So let's get practical. Accountability means asking ourselves not just, what am I free to do, but what is my responsibility because I am free? If I am free to vote, then I am responsible for ensuring that others can access the polls. If I am free to marry whom I love, then I am responsible for dismantling the systems that tell others that their love is less worthy. If I am free to worship in peace, then I am responsible for ensuring that my Muslim, Sikh, Jewish, indigenous, and all my siblings of faith have access to and peace in our and their sanctuaries. Freedom cannot thrive in a vacuum. It requires a container, and that container is our covenant. That container is our relationship. That container is this All Souls community. And sometimes that container can feel like a roller coaster ride, right? I've talked about before how the emotional roller coaster of seasons, we have the ups and downs, that those ups and downs become bearable because we are sharing them with people we love. And that's what covenant is. It's the harness that keeps us safe on that ride. It's not safe from all harm. We're not saying that we're creating a space in which no harm will ever happen, but it is trying to keep us safe from total despair. And it reminds us that we do not journey alone, that we are harnessed with one another in that roller coaster ride. And yet, I get it. Even in covenant, even in community, we get tired, my friends. I've talked about before, like this spiritual whiplash, those moments when we're jolted from one crisis to another or from one existence to another. I live in Puerto Rico, and the existence in Puerto Rico can be challenging. And then I come to the US and it's all smooth freeways and stop signs and things structurally, things are so much more put together. And it's these kind of spiritual whiplash moments of the reality of a colonial oppression to a veneer of privilege. And that spiritual whiplash, it can hurt, right? It can feel uncomfortable. What I've come to realize that it's not a whiplash. It's not like a one and done. I feel like it's more like a boomerang. And if I look at the ways in which we throw injustice out into the world, I realize that it eventually comes back to harm us. And when it does, it demands our reckoning. And we're seeing that today. We're seeing this injustice that we as the US are throwing out into the world and have thrown out into the world for hundreds of years. And it is coming back to us, and it is demanding a reckoning. And that reckoning, that is accountability, right? It's recognizing that what we do or what we fail to do matters beyond ourselves. So what does that accountability look like? What can it be like? Sometimes it looks like reparations, right? Sometimes it can look like an apology. Sometimes it can look like quiet listening. And sometimes it looks like a relentless, loud advocacy, lifting up the voices of those most impacted by injustice. But what I will tell you, friends, I will tell you true, it always, always looks like love. What I've learned and relearned again and again, because I make mistakes, right? I am just as human as anybody else in this room. And I've made mistakes in which I've had to be accountable. Sometimes even with the best intentions. At times I've centered my own US-based perspective too strongly, not realizing how it can affect our global community. I didn't mean harm, but intent does not negate impact. And accountability means taking responsibility for both intent and impact. Because that is where humility meets holiness, right? So often in Christian spaces, we hear about wanting to be humble and needing to be humble before the Lord, or needing to be humble before the universe, however you frame that. And it's not just humility for humility's sake. It's because humility gets us closer to holiness. Because there's something about being held accountable in love that doesn't shrink us. It doesn't make us smaller. It expands us. It allows us to grow. It reminds us that we matter, not just I, we. That our words and our actions, they ripple outwards and back to us. That our liberation is bound up in the liberation of others. And in UU spaces, one of the most profound places I see this is in our Yaya groups. For those uninitiated into the acronyms of Unitarian Universalism, YAYA stands for Youth and Young Adults. Capital Y, little a for and, capital Y, capital A. Youth and Young Adults. Because Yayas, they are such powerful teachers and holders of memory and history in our movement. And we have a saying in Yaya spaces that youth and young adults, they are not the future of Unitarian Universalism. So often we see the children, we're like, oh, it's so sweet, they're the future of Unitarian Universalism. No, they are the present of Unitarian Universalism. Yes, they are the future. Yes, they are the past, but they are the present. They are out there demanding justice for Gaza, being able to say that that climate change needs to be solved now. They are able to name when a genocide is happening in Rwanda or Gaza or the African nations, some of the African nations. They are the very soul of our faith in many, many ways. And what they're asking of us is not perfection. What they're asking of us is accountability. Will we show up when they do? Will we show up when they call? Will we show up in religious education? Will we match their courage with our commitment? So let's be clear, freedom without accountability is not liberation. We may feel, you and I at any given moment may feel that we are free. We are not. Because that accountability is the only way that we get to liberation. It's not abandonment. It's not a refusal to be in covenant. It is simply, completely, and utterly turning away from the holy when we do not match our freedom with accountability. As Unitarian Universalists, our faith is not just about believing in the inherent worth and dignity of all people. It is about living that belief. It is about building the beloved community brick by brick, breath by breath. And that building, it takes work, hard work, soul deep work, the kind of work that will exhaust us, and yes, the kind of work that will revive us. Because when we do this together, when we hold freedom and accountability in sacred balance, we come closer to the divine, however you name that. We come closer to a world where every child is safe, where every prisoner is free, where every family has food and water and medicine and joy, where no one person's freedom is bought at the expense of another person's bondage. That is the promise of our faith. This is the call of our time. So let us rise, not just in resistance, but in relationship. Let us fight, not just for rights, but for right relationship. Let's build, not just for ourselves, but for the generations we will never see. And when the work is hard, and yes, friends, it will be hard, let us remember that we do not do it alone. We do it in covenant. We do it in community, and we do it in faith. Are you with me, friends? Amen, Ashe, and may it be so.
Week, we are sharing our offering plate with the Freedom School. For several years, All Souls has been a sponsor and partner for Freedom School, which is a 6-week summer program for children that has proven to be highly effective at eliminating summer learning loss. Freedom School aligns with our UU values by helping children discover their inherent greatness and potential. To contribute, you can give cash or check in the collection plate, or visit allsoulsindy.org and click Give to All Souls here under today's service description. When giving online or by check, please specify if it is for a pledge or share the plate. Thank you for your generosity in supporting the mission of All Souls and for your continued love for one another and for this world. The morning offering may now be given and gratefully received.
As we leave today and head out into our week, let us reflect back on these words from today's sermon. So let us rise, not just in resistance, but in relationship. Let us fight, not just for rights, but for right relationship. Let us build, not just for ourselves, but for the generations we will never see. And when the work is hard, and it will be, let us remember that we do not do it alone. Go well in peace, beloveds.
Here in reverence now we gather for the blessing we have known, with a pledge to one another that we journey not alone. Joy and sorrow make us wise, kin to all that lives and dies. Love calls us on. Love calls us on. Words and deeds of those before us waken here to keep us strong. Blend our voices in the chorus of creation's living song. Courage bids us lift our eyes upward to the shining sky. Hope calls us on. Hope calls us on. Loyal guides in love and duty, lead us with a trusted light. Bless our days whose inward beauty shows the path of truth and right. Honor is the earthly prize. By their works we realize faith calls us on. Faith calls us on. We have shared a radiant hour when the truth has made us free, and the Spirit's gracious power